I find no case against him. But you have a custom that I release someone for you at the Passover. Do you want me to release for you the King of the Jews?" They shouted in reply,
"Not this man, but Barabbas. Release Barabbas."
From then on, I tried to set Jesus free, but the crowd kept shouting,
"If you let this man go, you are no friend of Caesar. Anyone who claims to be a king opposes Caesar."
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Oh, 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 sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Oh, 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 sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were you there when they pierced him in the side? Were you there when they pierced him in the side? Oh, 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 sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they pierced him in the side? Were you there when the sun refused to shine? Were you there when the sun refused to shine? Oh, 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 sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when the sun refused to shine? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Oh, 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 sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they laid him in the tomb?
It started with borrowing a few coins now and then from the common purse. Nothing big, and besides, I needed some compensation for my hard work as the treasurer. Before long, though, I was helping myself to a bigger and bigger portion. But I needed the money, and nobody seemed to really miss it. Then came a big opportunity for me, a one-time payoff to assist in an arrest. They'll eventually get Jesus anyway, I reasoned. Without my help, they would get him, so I might as well cash in on it. Now, it's finally hitting me. What started with pinching a few coins here and there has led to me being an accessory to murder. And the victim is a man who treated me with nothing but kindness and friendship, called me a friend for 3 years, even as I was betraying him. The money that I thought I loved disgusts me now. I would give it back if I could, if it would make things right. I wish I could undo what I've done, but it's too late. What I've done now sickens me. I threw the money down, and now I'm going to do the same thing, the only thing that I can think of, exactly what I deserve.
When morning came, all the chief priests and elders of the people plotted against Jesus to put him to death. And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Judas, his betrayer, seeing that he had been condemned, was remorseful and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, "I have sinned by betraying innocent blood." And they said, "What is that to us? You see to it." Then he threw down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed and went and hanged himself. But the chief priests took the silver pieces and said, "It is not lawful to put them into the treasury, because they are the price of blood." And they consulted together and bought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in. Therefore that field has been called the field of blood to this day. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, "And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the value of him who was priced, whom they of the children of Israel priced, and gave them for the potter's field as the Lord directed me." Matthew 27, 1 through 10.
My pilgrimage was almost over. I had traveled all the way from Cyrene in Libya for the Passover celebration in Jerusalem. I was coming up the road on my way to the city when I met this huge crowd of people all around, staring at something or someone. 3 men carrying stout wooden beams were being nudged along by sword point, headed for crucifixion. One looked like he should have been dead already. He was covered in blood. They tortured him so much that his eyes were swollen nearly shut. They had even jammed a wreath of thorns into his scalp. It was just awful. But what could I do for him? So I began to move on. A rough hand just grabbed my shoulder, and I turned to see this bloody prisoner pinned underneath this heavy beam. He couldn't carry it another step. So the soldiers were telling me, of all people, me, to help him carry it. Of all the people there, why me? I had just made this long trip from Cyrene, and now I was supposed to lug this heavy cross uphill for this exhausted criminal? As it turned out, my life would never be the same again. This troublesome task forced on me became the greatest privilege I would ever know. Because this bloody stranger whose cross I carried was the Son of God, my living Lord. My sons, Alexander and Rufus, who were with me that day, they too became followers of Jesus. We know in our hearts, better than most, that anyone who does not or is not willing to carry his cross and follow Jesus just cannot be a disciple.
Mark chapter 15, verses 21 and 22. A man named Simon was passing by. He was from Cyrene. He was the father of Alexander and Rufus. Simon was on his way in from the country. The soldiers forced him to carry the cross. They brought Jesus to a place called Golgotha. The word Golgotha means the place of the skull.
You get used to it after a while. The first crucifixion is always the hardest. You know, the bare skin, the blood, the buzzing flies, the first shrieks of pain followed by hours of gasping suffocation. The first time you see it, it turns your stomach. But after a while, it hardens you. And if you're lucky, you might even get a little something for yourself, because we often take lots for their stuff. Most of the time, you don't know the people you're crucifying. You're a soldier. Your job is to do what you're told, but this is different. You know, it's hard to resist having a little fun with a fellow who's labeled King of the Jews. Before you nail him up, give him a stick for a scepter, a crown of thorns, rough him up a little bit, and then bow down to the king. Way more entertaining than your average execution. Today, there's something for everybody. See, all 4 soldiers get a piece of clothing that they can sell at the local pawn shop. But what about that seamless tunic? It would be a shame to cut it up. Hey, how about a game to pass the time? Calvary Casino. Winner gets the tunic. See, it's not so hard to do this. And after a while, nothing shocks you anymore. It's all just part of the world around you.
John chapter 19, verses 19 through 24. Pilate had a notice prepared. It was fastened to the top of the cross. It read, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews." Many of the Jews read the sign. It was because the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city. And the sign was written in Aramaic, Latin, and Greek languages. The chief priests of the Jews argued with Pilate. They said, "Do not write the King of the Jews. Instead, write that this man claimed to be King of the Jews." Pilate answered, "I have written what I have written." When the soldiers crucified Jesus, they took his clothes. They divided them into 4 parts. Each soldier got 1 piece. And all that was left was Jesus' long inner robe. It did not have any seams. It was made of 1 piece of cloth from the top and to the bottom. "Let's not tear it," they said to one another. "Let's cast lots to see who will get it." This happened so the scripture would come true. It says, "They divided my clothes among them. They cast lots for what I was wearing." So that is what the soldiers did.
When my son was just a baby being dedicated at the temple, old Simeon said, "A sword will pierce your own soul too." That prophecy has echoed in my ears. At the time, I had no idea what those words could mean. Now I know. My firstborn is nailed to a cross. This grief is beyond my imagination. John is beside me, weighed down by his own sorrow. He left everything to follow Jesus, awed by his miracles, transfixed by his teaching. Over the years, he became a close friend to my son, and now this friend beyond all friends is dying. John and I stood together near the cross, our world devastated. Then we hear the voice we both love, speaking to us. Through my tears, I look into the tender eyes of my son. "Dear woman, here is your son." I turn my head. John's eyes meet mine. "Here is your mother," Jesus says. I am not alone, and neither is John. Together we will get through this.
Now there stood by the cross of Jesus his mother, and his mother's sister Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing by, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And from that hour that disciple took her to his own home. John 19:25-27.
My life was a waste, a complete disaster. The world would have been better off without me. In the end, it did get rid of me. My crimes and cruelty got me here, and I deserve this death. But I'm still angry. At first, I cursed this guy hanging next to me, right along with the other criminal. But then I got to thinking, if God is real, before long I will be facing him. I knew I was on the cross because I deserved it, but this man, Jesus, was totally innocent. It struck me then that maybe, just maybe, this wouldn't be the end of Jesus. I'm not sure where their idea came from, but I became more and more convinced of it. So I said it, "Jesus, remember me. In heaven there'll be no more pain, no more sorrow, no more hatred, no more guilt, only joy, peace, delight, and acceptance. Jesus will be there too, radiant beyond description, and I'll be with him forever."
Luke, the 23rd chapter, verses 39 through 43. One of the criminals hanging there made fun of Jesus. He said, "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself, save us." But the other criminal scolded him. "Don't you have any respect for God?" he said. "Remember, you are under the same sentence of death. We are being punished fairly. We are getting just what our actions call for. But this man hasn't done anything wrong." Then he said to Jesus, "Remember me. Remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus answered him, "What I'm about to tell you is true. Today, you will be with me in paradise."
time is coming soon. It's been so long, oh, such a long time since I've lived with peace and rest. Now I am here and my destination. I guess things will work for the best. And I know that my time is coming soon. Who is this man beside me? Well, they call the King of the Jews. They don't believe that he's the Messiah, but somehow I know it's true. And they laugh at him in a mockery, and they beat him till he bleeds, and they nail him to the rugged cross, and they raise him, yeah, they raise him up next to me. My time has come, I'm slowly fading, but I deserve what I receive. Jesus, when you are in your kingdom, could you please, please remember me? Yeah. And he looks at me still holding on as the tears fall from his eyes, and he says, I tell the truth today, yeah, you will live with me in paradise. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know that my time is coming soon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know that my time, yes, is coming soon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know paradise, oh, paradise is coming soon.
I've never seen anything like it. He turns down the offer of wine mixed with myrrh to dope him up and ease the pain. Seems like he'd rather suffer the worst with a clear head. The soldiers strip him naked, spread him out, hammer spikes into his wrists and heels, hoist him up, and what does he say? Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. There's something unearthly about him. At noon, everything turns dark. It stays that way for 3 hours. Then, around 3 o'clock, after 6 hours of hanging there, when you'd expect him to have no energy left, he suddenly shouts in a loud voice, "It is finished!" It almost seems like he's in control somehow. He decides when enough is enough. "Father," he says quietly, "into your hands I commit my spirit." And then he dies. That's when the earthquake hit. Is God himself reacting to this? People are staggering. Rocks are shattering, as if somehow Jesus' death has shifted the entire universe. Surely this man was the Son of God.
All right, so this is Mark 15, verses 33 through 39. When it was noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m. And at 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, listen, he's calling for Elijah. And someone ran, filled the sponge with sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him. And they said, wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to take him down. Then Jesus gave a loud cry and breathed his last. And the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. And now the centurion who stood facing him saw that in this way he breathed his last. He then said, truly, this man was God's son.
Love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of bliss to bear the dreadful curse for my soul, to bear the dreadful curse for my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of life to lay aside his crown for my soul, to lay aside his crown for my soul. To God and to the Lamb I will sing, to God and to the Lamb I will sing. To God and to the Lamb who is the great I am. Well, millions join the theme. I will sing. Well, millions join the theme. I will sing. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing in joyful be. And through eternity, I'll sing on. And through eternity,